So what's going on, everybody? So this is what we are working on, and I'm putting these gloves on only so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. All right. Generally speaking, I do not wear gloves while cleaning my firearms. Of course, you can as you wish. So today, this is the oil that I've been using so far. The Lucas Extreme Duty Gun Oil. And to be real, I do believe that you could actually use any type of, like I would probably use a synthetic oil, but I think you can really use uh, any type of oil as far as, for your gun, as far as gun oil. The only thing I don't like is frog lube. So frog lube, I have had frog lube um, gum up on me. So I'm not necessarily, and it was really cold. Um, it was really cold that day. I'm not necessarily sure exactly, what the deal was there, but yeah, it definitely did gum up on me. So I don't actually use that now. But let me go ahead and kind of get to it. So of course, let's see what we are going to clean first. And as a matter of fact, let me show you guys this for just a quick sec. And I'm not exactly sure how much this little pack cost when I purchased it, but you could really get a gun cleaning kit almost anywhere, Walmart, and as a matter of fact, I think I might have gotten this at Walmart. All right, so under 20 bucks, so you get a lot, and in this particular kit, you do have oil. You do have oil for your firearm. You have a few of the cleaning pads for your firearm, and I have a whole pack. I have a whole pack of those as well. So these are really cheap. These are really cheap also. So I got these little caulk packs, and you'll see what we do with those here in just a little bit. But inside this kit, you have quite a few tools. This is light. That you can actually use, and these are different, and you can see I really do use this, right? So this isn't some something that I pulled out that I really don't use as far as the kit goes. This little piece right here actually holds these, but you can also wrap one of these around one of the brushes. So just kind of depending on how you want to do it, but I'm going to show you that, like I say. Now this is really, really important because, as I said, mentioned just a second ago, you definitely can end up at the range and be in a position where your gun is jamming, and you really don't want that, especially since it's something that you can avoid. Now let me go ahead and roll this out. Will I use this? I think I won't right at this particular moment, as a matter of fact. But generally speaking, I do use that mat. And I say I won't, but I probably will. Let's go ahead and use this mat. So, all right. Now you can see this mat has been through some things. Don't talk too bad about my mat, all right? But anyway, so cleaning procedures. First thing you want to do is always make sure that the gun is unloaded. So currently this particular magazine is already unloaded, but what we're going to do, we're going to rack the slide 3 times. On that last time, you want to go ahead and lock the slide back in the rear position. Go ahead and look into the chamber. Make sure that there's nothing there. You can physically feel for that as well. There's nothing in there. And on a Glock, I'm going to pull these 2 tabs down, and I need to pull the trigger to release the slide from the frame. All right, so now that I've done that, let me go ahead and move that magazine out of the way. I'll go ahead and remove the spring and the barrel. All right, so really one of the big things you want to do, and you don't have to do a lot in this particular area, right? So all you really want is in this particular scenario is a microfiber cloth. So the first thing that we'll do, we'll go ahead and just wipe wipe off the frame and just get all the carbon buildup out of here and grit and grime off of all of the parts that we can just generally reach and touch. All right. So I like to wipe it off first. Then we'll just come back quickly, and you see that didn't take too long, right? There's not much to actually wipe off here, or much that you can actually reach here. So just quickly wipe that down. Now what we want to do is take the brush, and this is a little brass brush, and just go ahead and start wiping everything, or kind of brushing everything off that you just wiped, just to remove any additional buildup. All right. Now, going to come right back with the cloth again. And this is really pretty quick process, actually. All right, so we are good here. And of course you can completely break down your firearm. I mean, you know, remove the trigger and things of that sort. You really don't have to often at all. Generally speaking, you know, if you just you know, use your firearm normally, that's not necessarily required. Definitely every time every time you clean your gun. So what you definitely want to do, though, you do want to hit this feed ramp. You do want to hit that feed ramp. You want to brush that off. Make sure that you get as much off of here as possible. Definitely want to clean that area. And if some of you all didn't know, this is my Glock 43. And I did polish this feed ramp a long time ago. I believe I did it with a roto zip. That's what I want to say, or a Dremel, as a matter of fact. I did it with a Dremel and some polishing compound. Nothing special there. So just wipe off that barrel, and we're good to go. Wipe off the barrel, and as you guys just saw, cleaning that, brushing off that feed ramp, and then wiping that back off with the rag, the microfiber rag. Now, for the last part, the slide. So it is definitely gritty under here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'm not sure if you all can see that, but what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and hit that with a fiber, the microfiber cloth as well. Go ahead and wipe under here. And the reason I wipe first instead of just jumping right into brushing is because you could really jump right into brushing, but at that particular point, you're just kind of moving, you're just kind of moving all the build up around, right? You're not really getting rid of it per se, or you're not really getting rid of as much as possible anyway. So I like to wipe first and then come back with a brush just to, you know, get everything, to make sure I get everything out of there. So just start lightly wiping here, and you're just really getting all of the rest of the buildup out of there that kind of hung around in the first place. All right. Go. Now come back with the microfiber cloth and wipe all that down again. And this is, you know, definitely a pretty quick process. It's not something that takes all of your time, but something that is definitely very important. to the function and correct operation of your firearm. So if you've never done this, you should definitely do this. All right. If you're, and I'm going to explain here in just a second. If your barrel looks like this when you first take it out, you know, like really good and dry, that is not good. All right. I know you thought I was about to say, oh, that looks great. No, that's not good. It should not be dry. Okay. So the barrel is pretty much one of the main things that you want to make sure is oiled up. And the general rule of thumb is that if you put your finger on your barrel, you should be able to see the impression of your fingerprints in the oil. That's what I like to go by anyway. So you can actually even get the oil up here in this area, and I'll put a little bit more on here. Just gonna wipe it all around the barrel. Here we go. But of course, I'm concentrating most of the oil. I concentrated most of the oil on the actual barrel piece. And now I'm just going to go ahead and reinsert that falls back in place. And I'm going to lightly, ever so lightly, put a little bit of oil on the spring. And go ahead and push that back in place. All right, so now that particular part is ready. So let's get back to the frame really quickly, because we do have a few guns to knock out, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of oil, and I really want to stress putting oil on all of the points where the slide actually contacts the frame, right? So all of these little metal pieces right here, and each gun is a little bit different. So this, of course, is a Glock 43. This one has the 4 small contact points, and the other firearm is a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 as far as the handgun goes. And then we will be doing also, we'll also be cleaning the AR15. So, and one thing that I did not do, I am maybe rushing here. So let me remove this spring and take this barrel back out just for 1 second. So when I talked about these, right? You guys are like, what is he talking about? What is he going to use that for? Blah, blah, blah. No, you probably weren't that interested initially. So I'm going to try to stand this barrel up. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to put some more oil on it anyway. But I'm going to take out one of these pieces of cloth right here. And bring my case back up here. All right, so it is time to pull some of this material right here through this. All right, and I'm going to set that right there for just a second. So we are actually going to grab this rod here. Okay, funny thing, it's missing a piece. 1 cent. All right, so I'll go ahead and add this to the rod. Now, I can screw this tip on here, this brush. And what I'm going to do with this brush is just gently go back and forth, cleaning out this barrel, cleaning all of the buildup out of here, taking all that knocking buildup loose. Now, a lot of that should still actually be in the barrel. So a lot of that carbon buildup should actually still be in the barrel, even when doing this. So that's why you also have these little cloth squares that you use to make sure you get everything out of the barrel. All right. Look how dirty that is, right? So if I had not used this, then all of that would have still been in there, right? So would my gun have been clean? No, not really. Not really. So let me go ahead and put a new one in here. There we go. All right. Nicely done. So I'll go ahead and take this this tip off of here. And now let me go ahead and wipe this barrel back off because I don't want all of that, all of those little particles from earlier cleaning to be all over the barrel, right? Could cause some kind of weird wear or something like that. Rubbing back and forth. And let's see, let me make sure there's nothing extra in here either. All right. So back to oiling the barrel so you guys can see this again. Put a pretty generous amount on the barrel. Start wiping that around with your finger. And yes, the barrel is definitely going to look wet. It definitely should look wet. Definitely should be wet with oil. And can just rub just a little bit of that all over. It definitely won't hurt it at all. And we'll wipe off the excess oil here in just a moment. But go ahead and put this barrel back in here. Drop that in and re-add the spring. There we go. So now, as you guys saw me oil these points earlier, right? I am actually going to add just a little bit of oil in here into the track on the rear. And this is probably just a little bit where I will have to, and I'm actually gonna add some here in the front as well. You'll definitely have a better view of it if you add that oil in the front with the spring removed, but it's not really necessary. So, and to put this back together on a Glock 43 or a Glock in general, slide it on and slide it back, and you are ready to go. Pull that slide back and let it come back forward as it's supposed to, and now you are done. So we're done with the Glock, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the exterior, wipe off any excess oil. And the oil definitely keeps the gun looking fresh and protecting it against corrosion and things of that sort. Looks great, right? So in this particular scenario, magazine is empty. We can definitely go ahead and reinsert that into the firearm and set that off to the side. All right. So it's time to get to the next. One. Let's move some of this stuff around. Now, this particular firearm, I just took it out. I had actually just taken it out of this holster. As you guys can see, it's kind of beat up just a little bit. Definitely use this holster a whole lot. A whole lot, I should probably say. And yeah, so this gun is definitely loaded right now, but you always want to treat any gun that you're about to clean as if it's loaded, right? So even if you remember removing or unloading the gun on Wednesday or Tuesday or, you know, whatever the day may be, just make sure that you go through this exact same process each time. You want to hit that magazine release, go ahead and drop the magazine. That you always want to go ahead and drop the magazine first. Then you want to rack the slide. See, that ejected a bullet, right? I'm going to rack the slide again, and then I'm going to rack the slide again, and then lock the slide to the rear. And at this point, I'm going to inspect the chamber and visually, and also stick my finger in there to physically check and make sure that there is no bullet in the chamber. Now I know the gun is unloaded, so we can go ahead and proceed with actually cleaning the firearm. All right. So this being a Smith & Wesson, there actually is an option to not have to pull the trigger to release this slide, but I just generally go ahead and do that. But there is an arm in here that you can move down that will allow you to remove the slide without pulling the trigger. Just in case you all wanted to know, there is this breakdown lever. So I put the slide in. I lock the slide into position, lock the slide back to the rear, and pull down on this lever, and that is what allowed, along with me pulling the trigger, because I didn't have this inside lever here down. And I don't think you guys can see it right now, but it's this lever. So maybe you all can see me, or maybe you all could see that when I was just moving that. And that's what allowed me to actually go ahead and remove the slide. Now this one is pretty dirty. Now this is a funny story, right? So you see the white here. This was a white lithium grease that I was kind of trying out. It did work, but I just didn't like that. Of course, sometimes oil leaks out once it gets hot or something like that. And I had this white grease kind of coming out of the edge of the gun in between the slide and the frame anyway. I didn't really like that particular piece of it, so I probably won't use that, but it definitely does work. But the oil that I'm using right now, this Lucas oil, absolutely works as well. And I believe I got that from O'Reilly Auto Parts. All right, so let's go ahead and start breaking this one down. So what I'm going to do first off is go ahead and wipe this frame. Go ahead and wipe the frame off. Try to remove as much grime and grit as possible. All right. One of the things that I like about the Smith & Wesson is there is a larger contact. There are larger contact points on the Smith & Wesson than there are on the Glock. Not that the Glock does not work perfectly well, right? Just one of the beefier parts of Smith & Wesson that I do notice. All right, so I'm gonna wipe this out in here. Now, if you've ever, had a lot of buildup in a particular place where you may not be able to reach in there, or you may not know how to fully break your firearm down, and say there's a lot of gunk or something like that right behind the trigger, or in some of these areas here, and something sticking or something of that sort. Well, at that particular point, you could definitely use some brake cleaner and spray in here, and that would remove a lot of that grit and grime that you didn't necessarily feel comfortable getting to by completely taking apart all of the components inside of the frame, right? So that's definitely an option as far as removing a lot of the grit and grime that's in there that you just generally can't get to using just a rag or something of that sort, right? So that's always an option. But generally speaking, I can pretty much clean everything that I want to clean just during a basic cleaning, right? And I would probably suggest that you all clean your firearms, maybe after 3 range visits. There we go. Or if you can, once a month would be great. If not, I would definitely say you want to clean your firearm at least once every 3 months. If you are, if you're going to the range between that, you know, during that time, right? If you're not doing anything with your firearm should be good, but you can definitely always just pull the slide back, and if you can still see that oil on your barrels, then you should be okay. All right. So on this firearm, you can still see that the barrel is pretty wet here, which is great. And since it's wet, I'm going to point something out as well. I have put a lot of rounds through this firearm, so I'm definitely past 4,000 or 5,000 rounds easy with this particular firearm, and the barrel has very, very, very minimal wear, if any at all. I think, as a matter of fact, I think this is just a discoloration of the coating that's on the barrel, and that it's very, very light, so the coating is not even all the way worn through after having that many rounds fired through it. So just kind of giving you guys an idea of the wear level that you should see if your firearm is continuously kept in good oil condition. All right, there we are. All right, so this time I won't skip a step and have to have to take the barrel back out. Let's go ahead and grab a couple squares real quick, and go ahead and get this brush again. All right, so you want to remove any kind of extra debris from the brush that's there, and just start going back and forth through it a few times. All right. That is good. All right. So this time, I'm just going to show you guys really quick. I'm going to stick that on the brush and pull that through. Yeah, that is a lot of stuff that came off on it. And so I'll go ahead, and you can definitely do it that way if you would want, you know, if you like. I do always like to, though, go ahead and add one or two on here. Kind of go through the barrel just to see what was what was still sitting around, right? What was just still loosely there and able to collect or be collected after doing those additional steps. So that's pretty light. So we'll go ahead and leave the barrel there as far as actually cleaning out of the inside. And now, oh yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that is pretty dirty. So I'm probably the guy who cleans his gun maybe more than necessary, for sure. And that's so I do not have any problems, or I avoid most issues caused by things like this, you know, as far as having a dirty firearm, or, you know, carbon buildup causing something not to work correctly. So I try to definitely try to avoid that by being overly diligent in this particular area, and haven't had any issues yet. All right, so after wiping off the inside of the slide initially, then I'll go ahead and come back with a brush and start brushing it out. All right, definitely. That is definitely doing its job. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah, make sure you get in all of the areas that you can get into with the brush. Because this brush is definitely going to remove quite a bit of buildup if it can reach into a particular area. All right, there we go. So, as I said, we'll wipe this down again after hitting it with the brush and removing quite a bit of that buildup. See all of that that was just broken loose by the brush. So you definitely don't want to skip the brushing part. And one more thing on the barrel, the feed ramp, right? So, wow, can you see how dirty that is? All right, don't talk about me too bad for that feed ramp. I tried to get this one as dirty as possible so I could actually clean something on this video. All right. There we go. Oh yeah, that looks a lot different, right? An entire world of difference right there. All right, so go ahead and wipe this barrel back down. And now it's time to apply some more oil. Here we go. Like I said, a generous portion of oil. Don't be stingy with the oil in this area. All right, nice, nice, nice. So we'll add a little bit here. There. Top. Here we go. And now slide that barrel in and slide that back. Go ahead and wipe off the spring off some. All right, and just a little bit of oil to the spring as well. Go ahead and put that spring back together. So now we are good on the slide. Let's come back over here to the frame. And same thing. We are going to again apply oil to these contact points here. All right, that is definitely very important. All right. Nice. So now, make sure we still have that lever down. So I threw up the slide lock, and now I just barely push that back, and it's spring loaded, so it actually snaps back into place. I can drop the slide lock, and the firearm is ready to go again. All right. So that is how you oil and clean your firearm, your pistol. And you can go ahead and wipe it off, wipe it down, remove any of the excess oil. And you are once again good to go. All right. If you continue to do that for the life of your firearm, it will last you as long as you need it. All right. Generally speaking, a well-oiled gun is, just like a car that you continue to change the oil on when it's ready to be oiled, right? When it needs to be oiled, right? So what I'm going to do, since this is my concealed carry, one of my concealed carry firearms, I am going to go ahead and reload it. I'm going to eject the magazine after loading one bullet into the chamber. And that's how I go. Definitely always one in the chamber. All right, so we've cleaned a few pistols at this point. So let's go ahead and bring in the AR15 and see what needs to be done here to clean this one. All right. So a few of the same things. All right. So here's an AR15. We're going to go ahead and clean this. So one of the first things we're going to do, of course, is do a safety check. So we are going to use the magazine release and drop the magazine. This magazine happens to be empty, but we still don't know if the firearm is unloaded. I know, but you guys don't know, right? So in this particular case, I just cycled the slide, and now I have the bolt locked into the rear position. And I'm looking into the chamber to make sure that the firearm is absolutely unloaded. Now, let me go ahead and hit the release to bring the bolt back forward. There we go. So, what are the next steps here? So first things first, there are only a few things holding this in here, holding this together. And so there are two things that I don't really want to do at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and pull both of these pins out here. So and just so you know, I just used my finger. I just used my thumb to press that pin in just a second ago. All right. I'll press it in again. And what am I don't have any fingernails at the moment. So what I'll do, actually use the back end of that to go ahead and push that pin out since it was being stubborn. All right, there we go. Now, this is how I remove the upper from the lower. And generally speaking, as a matter of fact, I'll snap that back together. I just wanted to I was just actually doing it that particular way so you guys could see it kind of from a side angle. But generally speaking, I would remove the rear pin first, and then go ahead and undo the front pin. All right, but again, I'll turn it to the side so you guys can see. All right, and then I block it with my hand, right? All right, so now that we have the lower separated from the upper, we'll go ahead and work on the upper right now. So I'm going to pull the charging handle back and go ahead and pull out the bolt carrier group. All right. So now that I have the bolt carrier group out, we're going to go back to work with the microfiber cloth. And this thing is definitely dirty at this particular point, and it does not have that much oil on it right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is kind of a quick cleaning here. I will, as a matter of fact, I will go ahead and pull out, I'll go ahead and pull out the pin, the firing pin from the bolt carrier group, but you don't necessarily have to do that when cleaning it. So first, let's just go ahead and wipe it off. Make sure we wipe it off pretty good. Okay, so now I'm actually going to come back with a brush, just lightly brush it off. All right, here we go. Now for this, and this is so funny that I don't have any kind of fingernail at the moment. Take a pin or a small screwdriver or something like that, and you can pry this pin out. And if you can't pry it out from this side, you can definitely push it out from this side. Push it out just a little bit, enough to be able to grab onto it. So see, I just grabbed that pin, and now I can actually pull out the firing pin. All right. So I am going to also pull this part out. So this is just a quick and easy breakdown of the bolt carrier group. And the only thing we really want to do here is just wipe this off, make sure that there's nothing damaged and or broken in here. All right. And this was definitely dry all throughout at this particular point. All right, making sure we're getting everything off of here. All right, so brush that off some. There we go. And this particular bolt carrier group doesn't have any type of serious coating on it. This is just your run-of-the-mill AR-15, and as a matter of fact, this is a Palmetto State Armory AR-15. I purchased the upper and lower, just put it together and having an AR-15. This was my first AR-15, as a matter of fact. So there is a lot of wear here on the side of this, but it's not actually, doesn't have any actual serious indents here, but definitely should have been oiled a long time ago. All right. Looks a lot better. So what I'll go ahead and do is place some oil on here and on these rings right here. Definitely want to oil these. All right, and we can just rub some oil. Just rub it around here. This is not going to hurt anything for sure. All right. There we go. And I will put just a little bit of oil on this firing pin. Let's go ahead and insert that and wipe off this pin. And that push pin can literally just be pushed in with your hand. All right. Now, funny thing, totally talking to you guys. To remove this pin, jumped one step ahead. All right. Slide that back. Now I am going to apply some oil here. Go ahead and that pretty wet. Here we go. And looks good. That is hilarious. All right, so let me set it down and there we go. All right. Now this needs to be turned to the side here. All right. So the pin can actually go in through it. And now put in the lock pin for the firing pin. Now we're good. All right. There we go. So I'm actually going to apply additional oil to the bolt carrier group here just a little bit later. But for now, what I'm going to do is clean this out, clean this area of the upper out with a rag, the microfiber cloth again. Trying to just remove as much buildup as possible. Right. And you do want to inspect the teeth here and the feed ramps. You also want to hit that with a brush. Make sure to remove any of that buildup that that inevitably gets in this particular area. Visually inspect it. I can hit that just a little bit more. All right. That looks good. All right. And just, you know, just in general, get as much of that buildup out of here as possible. Visually inspect and make sure that there is no huge deposit of buildup. And now it is time to actually use our rod cleaning tool, our rod brush again here, and actually clean out this barrel. I'm really kind of interested to see how bad this barrel actually is at this particular point. All right. Let's see here. This should be long enough. So this has a few extensions on it. I'll actually need to remove this piece here. Go ahead and do that. And now this is all one long piece now. All right. So I am going to take the barrel, and just like the pistol, just push in and pull out. Definitely want to do this several times. All right. All right, now we are going to take off the actual brush tip here, and we're going to put this end back on. All right, and we're going to use a few more of these squares here. Probably not, maybe not as many as I just grabbed, but let's see how it goes. All right, so we are going to do the same exact thing that we did on the pistol, and this is funny. I may need to, I think I need to get the smaller size, as a matter of fact. Smaller size tip here, so it can go down this barrel. That is definitely a bit thinner. And there you go. Just have to feed that through. And going through that tip is actually a lot more difficult than going through that end. This is too thick, so let's see here. All right, so I just tore the sheet in half to make sure that you don't have any long threads. And I'm also kind of pulling on it to make sure that I don't have any huge amount of fibers coming off of it before I put it into the firearm, into the barrel. I don't want to end up with way more stuff in the barrel than I started out with, right? So go ahead and try this again. That way it was a whole lot easier to actually get in here. All right. There we go. Nice, 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 nice. Almost there. So should just need this last piece here. Should be pretty good. All right, so there we are. And we have cleaned the barrel of the AR15. We have cleaned up the bolt carrier group and almost ready to reapply additional oil and put this back together. So now let's just take a quick look at the lower here. And I'm just going to kind of do the same thing that I've been doing, wiping off all of the buildup that I can see here. I'm also going to pull the trigger. I'm going to put it into the firing mode and pull the trigger, and you'll see that hammer raise up. There we go. I'm going to wipe this off. Nothing too serious, just doing a little bit. I'm going to put that back in the safe. All right. All right. Now it's time to go ahead and add some additional, and I didn't use all of these little cloth squares, so I'll put the extras back into the bag over here out of view. Now it's time to go ahead and apply some oil to the bolt carrier group. You can definitely be generous here. All right. And, you know, kind of just like your pistol, I would say you really want to keep this bolt oiled for sure. The oil just really keeps these parts new. Your bolt carrier group can last a very long time. I've had this particular firearm for, wow. I'm not gonna say a time. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say an actual time, but the time frame, because I don't know exactly. But I've had it for quite a while and have had no issues with it. I think the last few times that I shot this thing, I did not oil it. That is good. I didn't clean it and oil it, I should say. That is good for today's video, but just in general, definitely don't want to go a really long period of time without oiling your AR-15, including your bolt carrier group. That is not that's not advisable. All right. So let me go ahead and put this in here. Funny thing, so the bolt, extend it there, and then it'll slide in, and I can go ahead and click that particular piece in. Let me wipe my hands off here. And go ahead and connect the first pin in the front here. Then just fold the AR-15 back and go ahead and push that second pin on the rear of the upper end, and go ahead and wipe off your freshly oiled AR-15. It is definitely ready to go to work and do what you need it to do. And definitely you can put oil, you know, on the outer metal of your firearm as well, and then wipe that off just to kind of renew, you know, keep everything oiled up and looking newish. I say newish, yeah, newish. But there you have it. We are pretty much done with 3 different firearms here. So the Glock 43, the Smith & Wesson 2.0, and Old Faithful AR15. So if you guys like what you saw, please like, subscribe, share. Definitely comment. I read all of the comments. And hey, you guys be safe. Be easy.